Hi everyone, I'm Rebentin Dugan Jr. Today, I want to begin with a simple question. Why do so many organizations know they need to change, yet still fail to transform? Today, we focus on theoretical foundation of organizational development and change management. This is not just about memorizing models. It is about learning how we think about change, diagnose complexity, and choose the right framework for the right organizational problem. When organizations announce change, people often see only the visible part, a new policy, a reorganization, a new system, or a new leader. But deeper, underneath are culture, emotions, habits, incentives, resistance, and power relationships. That is why change management matters. And that is why organizational development or OD gives us a deeper lens. It helps us understand not only what is changing, but why people respond the way they do. Organizations today operate in volatile environments. Technology changes fast, stakeholder expectations are rising, competition is more intense, regulation keeps shifting, and employees increasingly expect meaning, flexibility, and participation. Change is no longer optional, it is continuous. So, leaders, the real question is not whether change will happen. The real question is whether it will be managed strategically, ethically, and sustainably. Organizational development is a planned and system-wide effort to improve organizational effectiveness while also supporting people. That is what makes OD powerful. It is not only about efficiency, it is also about participation, learning, trust, and alignment. In other words, OD sees organizations as living system made up of people, structure, culture, and strategy. Change succeed when those elements work together. OD and change management are closely related, but they are not exactly the same. OD is broader and more developmental. It looks at the organization as a whole system and asks how to improve performance, culture, and capability. Change management is often focused on transition, how people move from current state to the desired future state. In practice, strong leaders use both. OD gives the philosophy and diagnosis. Change management gives the movement and execution. Kurt Lewin's model is one of the most foundational theories in change management. First, unfreeze the current state by challenging old behaviors and creating readiness. Second, move into change by introducing new practices, structures, or attitude. Third, freeze by stabilizing the new way of working. Its strength is clarity and simplicity. Its limitation is that modern organizations rarely stay frozen for long. Today, change is often continuous, so freezing may be temporary. Action research is especially important in organizational development because it treats change as both interventional and learning. You diagnose the issue, plan collaboratively, take action, evaluate results, and then learn from the process. This model is participative and evidence-based. Its strength is that it involves stakeholders and allows adaptation. Its limitation is that it can take time and require trust, data, and openness. But for complex organization, it is one of the most useful approaches. Systems theory reminds us that organizations are not collections of isolated departments. They are interconnected systems. If you change one part, the other parts react. A new performance systems affects culture. A new technology affects workflow. A leadership change affects morale. The strength of systems theory is that it prevents narrow thinking. The limitation is that it can feel abstract unless leaders translate it into action. Still, for OD, this is crucial mindset. John Cotter's model is one of the most practical frameworks for leading large-scale change. It emphasizes urgency, coalition building, vision, communication, empowerment, short-term wins, sustained momentum, and cultural anchoring. Its strength is strong leadership logic and implementation discipline. Its limitation is that it can appear top-down if participation is weak. It works best when leaders do not just announce the vision, but actively build commitment across the organization. ACDAR is useful because it shifts our focus from organization to the individual. It says successful change happens when people develop awareness of why change is needed, desire to support it, knowledge of what to do, ability to perform the new behavior, and reinforcement to sustain it. The strength of ADKAR is its focus on human transition. Its limitation is that it may underemphasize broader structural or political issues if used alone. The Burke-Litwin model is powerful because it distinguishes transformational and transactional change. It shows how the external environment influences leadership, mission, culture, systems, climate, and performance. Its strength is depth. It is excellent for diagnosis. Its limitation is complexity. It is not the easiest model to explain quickly, but for doctoral level study, it is valuable because it helps us see causal relationship between organizational variables. So let us test the theories using one case. Imagine a university introducing AI tools, hybrid work arrangement, and a new digital learning platform. Lewin would ask how to unfreeze old habits. Action research would start with diagnosis and stakeholder feedback. Systems theory would examine how technology affects teaching, administration, and culture. Cotter would focus on urgency and leadership coalition. Adgar would help faculty and staff adapt individuality. Bert Litwin would ask how external disruption reshapes mission, leadership, and system. This is one of the most important lessons from this case study. No model is universally best. Each one highlights something important, but each also leaves something out. So the real skill is not blind loyalty to one theory. The real skill is critical evaluation. Leaders must ask, what problem are we solving? How complex is the organization? How ready are the people? And what level of change are we dealing with? A leader's job is not simply to use a model. A leader's job is to choose wisely. If the challenge is behavior adoption, ADKAR may help. If challenge is broad transformation, Qatar or Burke-Litwin may be stronger. If the environment is uncertain, action research gives us learning and feedback. If we are missing the bigger picture, systems theory brings integration. In short, theories are not cages. They are tools for better judgment. To close, organizational development and change management are not just technical subjects. They are a leadership disciplines. They ask us to diagnose organizations deeply, choose the theories wisely, and lead people humanely. These topics gives us the conceptual foundation. Once that foundation is clear, we are better prepared for diagnosis, strategy design, implementation, and evaluation. Thank you for listening.